Solutions Review is on location at Commvault GO in Nashville, Tennessee. Brought to you by Commvault.
We are back at Commvault GO 2018 with a friend, an old friend, Lance Shaw, Director of Solutions Marketing at Commvault.
Thank you so much. Yes, I know I am getting older. I admit it. It happens every day. I can't avoid it. What can I do?
Well, thanks for being here.
Very nice to be here, actually. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is quite an amazing event, and it's a customer conference, so obviously there are a lot of folks here with a lot of different things happening to them.
Right.
And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is ransomware, which is, for Commvault anyway, probably one of the greatest selling propositions on the planet.
It is definitely a driver to get people thinking about their recovery strategy and how ready they are to do things, right? I think probably a few years ago when people talked about ransomware, there was absolutely this "it won't happen to me" sort of mentality. And I'll probably get away with it, or I'm a big mega corporation and no one would dare do it. And as we've heard here at the show, it doesn't matter the size of the business, size of the organization, you are susceptible. And it's now become a matter of, it will happen.
Well,
it's no longer an if.
That's really it. I mean, we're all getting rated. I mean, because the law of large numbers, it just makes sense to attack everybody.
Right,
it's easy enough to do.
Yeah, well, what's happening now, of course, is the evolution of bots and automation is making it even simpler, right? So where it was once a hobby for some, is now becoming, a profession that's exceptionally organized. You've got ransomware developers that are agile development houses now, right? So it's moved into the state of organized crime, nation states, and very well-funded organizations. So when you get to that level, we've gone from, hey, I'm going to extort you for a ransom, to I'd actually like to get a hold of your data and monetize that and sell it on the dark web, open market somewhere.
Well, and with the advent of cryptocurrency, it's now there's a vehicle for which to make the ransom effectively anonymous.
Correct, right.
Untraceable, I guess.
Right, it makes it even more popular. So, when we talk to customers about all of this in this lovely world we live in with this in this kind of environment, it's like, all right, well, I'll do what I can to protect it, and there are multiple systems involved, but I also need to make sure that I can recover quickly. So what we've announced here at the show, we've shown the new command center, we've shown new dashboards that allow you to see your anomalies more effectively. You're no longer scanning through event logs, hoping that you don't blink at the wrong time and miss something important. And so with this, with better visibility comes better awareness and the knowledge of what's going on. But what we're also been talking a lot about is the automation and being able to know about it very quickly. So we've been doing anomaly detection for a while and monitoring traffic and monitoring behaviors that seem out of whack. But now with the introduction of artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms, we're able to more proactively take action. And then the other aspect of all that is, okay, well that's great. So I know something's happening, but I have to integrate with other systems. So from an ITSM perspective, from a service management integration perspective, we can now tie in with systems like ServiceNow to work with other systems. So you can't just rely on any one technology to combat attacks that are coming in from multiple fronts.
Well, and that's an interesting point, because what we've seen at Solutions Review is this kind of layered development of technologies, from email security at the kind of stop it before it arrives in the inbox of the person who's eventually going to click on it, to identity and access management or SIEM to just try to find the log events that are happening, to now all the way down to really in the data center and data management technologies that would effectively be the last line of defense.
Right, but even with all of that in place, and every organization, as they analyze their ability to recover and respond quickly, because the business is being threatened, every business needs to have that level of that layered attack, or layered, I really should say, layered set of responses that is tested and known, and there's process in place. So, all of us probably have seen scenarios where, let's throw some technology at it and everything will get magically better. But turns out you've got to have the process in place, and you've got to be able to prove to your CXO level leadership that you've got a plan in place, because it's not just the ransomware anymore. It's like if our data was exposed, or if we're done as a business, and the statistics around the number of businesses that fail after an attack is increasing. So it's the visibility into recovery readiness has really been raised.
Well, and an organization of any size is vulnerable. I mean, I know of personal experience, very small organizations that have been attacked, but we heard at the keynote yesterday of one of the largest global organizations being attacked in an incredible story that actually Commvault was able to recover within a week.
Right. A global organization that would have been down for 6 months, which is absolutely crippling. You're talking.
I mean, it's Maersk, and they would have been. They would have 20% of the container shipping. Right. The
downstream
effects.
It wasn't just them that were going to be negatively impacted.
The entire supply chain would have been wounded.
Yeah. So it's really, when you think about it that way, it's like they're glad they had Commvault in place. Probably a lot of other people should be glad they had Commvault in place.
I'll give you guys credit. It's one of the greatest case study stories I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it is truly remarkable.
I think and you got to give Maersk credit for coming out and saying, look, we got to turn this around. Yeah, we were hit, and you can be hit too, and raising the awareness, right, and getting out of that mentality of this won't happen to me.
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
I think we're good. Can you prove it? Right. So what we're encouraging customers to do is to, kind of see where you are on a scale, 1 to 5 or whatever, but from moving up your recovery readiness. So not just we're ready to react should something happen, to all the way up to we're proactively testing on a regular basis. We have documented reports. We can showcase how fast we can be back up and running. We've got multiple levels of recoverability. Right? So George Crump today in the keynote this morning was talking about how ransomware now can sometimes lay dormant and not kick in right away. So you've got to be able to go back a little bit farther than maybe you would have before. It's not just an immediate response. I've got to go back 2 days instead of 2 seconds, right?
So I'm curious, because you talk to a lot of customers, where do you think we are in the adoption curve around people really getting hardcore about protecting themselves from ransomware? It's probably not much.
I think it's still. I think we're still. Maybe we're in an adolescent phase, perhaps. Right. We're getting there. We're suddenly becoming aware. Right. If you take the analogy a little bit further about ourselves, and and then you take action, right? So you start setting a course for how you want to run your business and take it more seriously. And so it's, I think in the rapid news cycle that we live in, bad things happen and they're quickly forgotten. Right, so the city of Atlanta was a recent,
no doubt about it,
suffered
amazing
severe damage, right? And they didn't have the processes and the software, the recovery model in place. That should be a wake-up call for every city, state, around the world, right? And for every business, right? That make sure that you're at that level of maturity and can prove ahead of time, because, like I said, now you've got to be able to go to your senior leadership and say, "This is our plan. We know if this happens, we'll be able to respond in a very short amount of time, whatever the number of minutes or hours it might be, and we'll be back up and running, using different locations if we have to."
And that's the good news, is that there are solutions that you can put in place that will, it may not prevent the attack necessarily, but it will help you to recover from the attack fairly quickly.
Yeah. And that's really the main thing at the end of the day, is that you're not going to prevent every instance. These organizations are well-funded, very creative.
And getting more creative every day.
Right, and they'll be using artificial intelligence themselves if they're not already. And so we've got to use more advanced systems to be able to detect and more importantly, respond so that your business is up and running.
Well, Lance, this is great. Good topic. Thanks for swinging by. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, indeed, always a good time. I love it.
Well, I hope...
by the way, I'll be older next time when I'm here.
Well, hopefully, we'll see you next year.
All right. Thanks, Doug.